Okay, I wanted to go over the transmitter on X350 Skydancer stunt quadcopter. I'm certainly no authority on the subject. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. When you jump from toy grade to hobby grade, there's quite a learning curve, and unfortunately in the instruction manuals on these things, not only is there oftentimes a language barrier, but there's also a lot of assumptions made in the terminology that they figure you already should know. So, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword trying to learn this stuff, and you find a few things on YouTube about it, but they're pretty vague, and they go over it real quick. So anyway, I'll give you the best I can give you on this. Let's just go over the switches real quick. This switch right here is throttle hold. In other words, when it's in the forward position, the throttle is inert. It will not work. And so what I recommend is when you bind your quadcopter, you want all your switches in the rear position except this one. Okay, you turn on your transmitter and it will automatically bind itself. So once you give it a minute and the light settle down on it, you'll see a green light on the back of it, which is 6G. In other words, all access points want to self-level and that sort of thing. And so then you flip the switch back. Now you're ready to fly. You just give it a little throttle and, you know, and away you go. Okay, right now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's mode 2. It can be changed to mode 4, which reverses part of this over here and part of that over here, but most people in this country go mode 2. But you can change that with the mode. If you hold this mode button down for a while, it puts you into the menu. Once you're in the menu, you can dial right here whatever it is you're wanting to change the parameter on, and then push the button. It will select it. You make your changes right in here in 6 different locations, and then you push the button again to save it. Only your advanced flyers are really gonna do that, and because they'll know how to adjust it if they're wanting to make some parameter changes. Now the real pros don't really prefer this model, because no matter what mode you're in, it still has a certain amount of self-leveling still engaged, and you can lower that down to about 25% in the menu, my understanding on that. So okay, this button, I'll turn it off. This button right here is your dual rate mode. Okay, in the up position, it has the least amount of pitch and roll, and when you switch it down, that increases it. And so when you're flying in a 3D mode, or you know, some kind of stunt mode, you most certainly probably want to have that down. Then of course, you know, it's your standard sticks here and your standard, you know, your standard trim buttons and a attachment for a lanyard, that sort of thing. Okay, this switch right here in the up position is your 6G, or your stability mode with self-leveling. The light is green, and when it's in the up position, and that's how this quadcopter starts out. And if you switch it down, the light turns red, and now you're in a acro mode where you can do some stunts and this and that. You won't be able to do inverted flight because the engines won't reverse until you push this switch forward. Then that will enable you to fly in inverted, and this might be a good one to learn inverted because it has that well, like the Blade 200 QX has the stability mode. In other words, it helps you you know, level it. Now when you're in this mode here, that makes your throttle center is neutral. Okay, if your quadcopter is upright, that gives you throttle. If your quadcopter is inverted, pushing down gives you throttle. So when you flip it over, once you get past about 60%, it goes into where the motors start to reverse. The quadcopter starts to flip over. As it flips over, you turn it, you bring it back to this position right here, so it stays inverted instead of going all the way around. Then at that point, you want to pull down if you want to give the quadcopter upward thrust. And so it's very difficult. And some of those maneuvers that they do with regular helicopters that are just, it's all on you, it takes, you know, months to learn a half of a particular turn, you know, like an axis turn, and it takes years to develop that. If you want to do the full circle, the I believe they call it pyro turns or something like that, it can take a couple of years to perfect that. So you know, it's not easy to fly in these modes, and if you want to do that, I would recommend you do it on something let's say a Latrax alias, because that will do the 3D type flying, and it won't do the inverted, but it will do the 3D type flying, and it'll be a good way of getting some real field practice over using a simulator. So when you start it up, you want this down, you want all your switches back except this one right here, and that's your throttle cutoff. That'll stop those blades right now. As far as getting into that menu, like I said, you hold that down for about 3 seconds, it comes on. This will get you back out of the menu and put your normal screen back on. Now these they're kind of loose, which it's really good to do, but for me, when I go forward, sometimes I have a tendency of going one way or the other. I wanted to stiffen mine up just a little bit. You can do that on the back. You pull this rubber plug, and there's 2 screws. One of them, like the lower one right here, goes up and down. That's the up and down part. And counterclockwise is actually tightening that one, and clockwise is actually tightening the other one. So you kind of have to turn it just a little bit and then check and see where your stick is. I turned that lower one clockwise a couple times, and this stick was just flopping in there. So I had to turn it back around to counterclockwise. But you can go and set all of your stiffness, what feels good to you on this particular transmitter. I think I've gone over just about everything that I know about it, but I wanted to share it because it's so hard to find out this information. You know, nobody really puts it out there. So I wish there was a channel that went over transmitters and transmitters alone. They would get a lot of views, I can tell you that. Just explaining them slowly, easily, understandably, and doing a lot better job than I'm doing. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Happy flying, and we'll see you out there, okay?